Hello, so in this video we'll be looking at multiplying radicals. So essentially when we're multiplying radicals, for example, when we have root x times root y, as long as we have the same index, which is the number here, in this case we have an index of 2, we are able to multiply our radicand, which is our number inside our radical symbol. So x times y gives me xy, so I would have the square root of xy. So let's look at a simple example here. We're given root 2 times root 5. We're asked to multiply these two radicals together. So because I have the same index of 2, I can multiply my radicand. So I have 5 times 2. 5 times 2 is also just the square root of 10. Moving on to a little complicated question with coefficients of 4 and 3. So we have 4 root 5, 4 square root 5 times 3 square root 8. Now, because I have an 8 here, which I know can be simplified further, so I'm just going to work on that here. So I know 8 can also be represented by 4 times 2. I know 2 squared is 4, and the square root of 4 is 2, so I can take out my 2 from that. So I get 6 root 2. Now I multiply, so again, when we have the same index, we can multiply our coefficients together, and we can also multiply our radicand together. So our 5 and my 2 and my 4 and my 6. 4 times 6 is 24. My 5 times my 2 is 10. My prime factorization of 10 is 5 and 2, and I cannot simplify it any further. Alright. Our third question we're given is root 7 times root 7. Again, our index is 2. So we can just multiply a radicand, which is 7 and 7 in this case. So I have square root 7 times 7, which is also square root 49. Square root 49 we know is equal to 7 squared, as represented here. So square root of 49 is 7, because 7 squared gives me 49. So my answer is 7 here. Alright, and when you have a question like this where you have the same index and the same radicand with no coefficient, you're always going to have just your radicand as your answer. So here we have a radicand of 7. Well, our answer is 7 as well. Alright, moving on to our next question. We're given 5 square root 3 times square root of 6. Now here I have my coefficient of 1, so I can also write this as 5 root 3 times 1 root 6 square root. Because my index are the same, I can multiply my coefficients of 5 and 1 together, so I have 5. I multiply my 6 and my 3, which are my radicand, I get 18. Now I can actually simplify 18 further and make it an entire radical here. Work towards that at least. 9 and 2, 3 and 3. So my prime factorization is 3, 3 times 2. So I have 5 times 3 squared times my 2. 9, or yeah, the square root of 9 is 3, so I can take out my 3. 5 times 3 root 2. So I have 15 square root 2. Perfect. So that was my answer for that question. My next question is a little more complicated. And yeah, so let's get into it. So here I have my coefficient of root 5 times 2 root 10 minus root 5. So I use my FOIL method. Firstly, I times my root 5 with my 2 root 10. So square root 5 with my 2 square root 10, followed by my root 5 times my negative root 5. So let's start with my first one. 2 times 1 gives me 2. My radicands are 10 and 5, so 10 times 5. Now I have my minus, and I have 5 times 5, which is 25. Now my next part would be expanding. So I have 2 root 50 minus, I know the square root of 25 is 5. Now I have 2 square root 25 times 2 minus my 5. I know the square root of 25 is 5, so I have 2 times 5 square root 2 minus 5. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 2 is 10, so I have 10 square root 2 minus 5 is my answer. So now let's look at one question really quick using that asks us to solve with cube roots. So we're given the cube root of 81 times the cube root, let's say, times the cube root of 64. No, never mind. Let's see. All right, let me use 32 here. Okay, for this example, so I know 81 I can factorize and expand further. So I have 9 times 9. This turns into 3 and 3, 3 and 3. So I have 2 times cube root of 3 to the power 3 times 3. So I have 4 threes in total. Prime factorization of 32, I do the same thing. 8 times 4, 4 becomes 2 and 2. My 8 becomes 4 and 2, and this 4 can become 2 and 2. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 twos, so 2 to the power 5 times cube root of 2 to the power 5. Now because I have 3 to the power 3 and I have my index of 3, I can take 3 out. So I have 2 times 3, which gives me 6 cube root of 3 times my 2 root 5, which here I can also represent as 2 root 3 times 2 root 2. Because I have my same base, I can add my index, which gives me root 5. 3 plus 2 is 5. So 6 cube root 3 times 2. I can take out my 2 because I have a 2 to the power of 3 and I have my index of 3. So I'm left here with 2 squared. Now let me simplify this further really quick. 2 cube root 2 squared is 4. Now because I have my same index of 3, I multiply my coefficients 6 and 2, which give me 12. I can multiply my radicand 4 times 3, which gives me 12 as well. So now I have my answer, which is 12 cube root 12. So that was multiplying radicals. Hope you learned something. Thank you.